The film starts in the year 895 AD when King Orvandil comes back with his army after winning a war. The royal family, including Queen Gudrun and Prince Amleth, welcomes him with joy and pride. King Orvandil brings back many treasures and finds a special necklace that once belonged to a prince from the defeated empire. He gives the necklace to Prince Amleth as a gift of his victory. Soon after, King Orvandil's brother, Duke Fjalnir, arrives to congratulate them on their victory. King Orvandil greets his brother with a glass of wine, and Queen Gudrun gives her cup to Fjalnir. A palace official sees this and questions why the queen would share a cup with another man, causing a disturbance. Fjalnir feels insulted and orders everyone to be quiet. He then explains that small things should not be exaggerated as they can lead to misunderstandings. King Orvandil calms Fjalnir down and tells him not to take the comment seriously as it was meant as a joke. After things settle, Fjalnir introduces his baby boy, Prince Thorir, to everyone. That night, when everyone is about to sleep, King Orvandil shows his war wounds to his wife, which worries Gudrun. King Orvandil reassures her that he will not die from these wounds, but will die with honor on the battlefield. The next night, King Orvandil invites Amleth to perform a special ritual to prepare him to become the next king. They go to a temple in the forest at night and perform a dance like a dog in front of a fire. They drink holy water, called the Water of Knowledge, directly from a bowl like a dog. This ritual is believed to teach a person the meaning of life and death with honor, where honor means dying on the battlefield. King Orvandil asks Amleth to promise that he will be his successor and take revenge if he is killed by the enemy. After the promise, King Orvandil shows his wounds to Amleth and asks him to touch them so Amleth can have a vision of his future. The morning after the special ritual, King Orvandil and Prince Amleth left the sacred temple to go back to the royal palace. But soon after leaving, King Orvandil was suddenly shot with arrows and surrounded by a group of masked soldiers. He told Amleth to run away while he tried to fight off the attackers. Amleth hid behind a big rock and watched the soldiers from a distance. He was shocked to see that Fjalnir, his uncle, was leading the masked soldiers. Fjalnir wanted to take the throne from King Orvandil. Fjalnir ordered his soldiers to chase Amleth through the forest to kill him and secure his position as the new king of Raps. One soldier caught Amleth, but Amleth fought back and escaped. When Amleth returned to the royal palace for safety, he found that all the officials loyal to King Orvandil had been killed by Fjalnir's soldiers. He became more scared when he learned that Fjalnir had taken his mother, Queen Gudrun, hostage and kept her in his room. Amleth overheard the soldier he had defeated telling a lie that Amleth had drowned in the sea. Amleth decided to escape to the sea in a small boat. As he paddled away, he cried and promised to come back and save his mother. The story then jumps to a few years later. Amleth had grown into a strong young man and was living with the Vikings in Russia. The Vikings had found and raised him to be one of their warriors. Amleth still remembered the betrayal by Fjalnir and was determined to get revenge for his father's death. In the evening, Amleth and the other Vikings performed a special dance ritual in a circle around a fire before attacking a region to take control of it. The next morning, Amleth and the Vikings sneaked into the border of their target area, with Amleth leading the attack. After he threw a spear, the Viking leader shouted for his troops to start the attack. The battle between the Vikings and the local soldiers was fierce, with the Vikings brutally defeating the enemy. The Vikings won and took control of the area. The Viking leader praised Amleth for his skill in battle, saying that he had not been wrong about Amleth's abilities. While the Vikings celebrated, Amleth went to see a blind woman named Seiress in a temple. Seiress reminded Amleth of his duty to avenge his father, King Orvandil. She told Amleth to sail to an island in the northern region, where he would see a burning lake on top of a black mountain. Amleth was destined to kill the traitor who had killed his father there. A black fox would help him find a sacred sword to kill the traitor. Seiress warned that once his revenge was complete, Amleth's journey would end, and a girl would carry on his legacy. The next day, while Amleth and the Vikings were at a slave market, he heard from a colleague that King Fjalnir had been defeated by King Harald of Norway. Fjalnir and his family had fled to an island in Iceland. Some prisoners in the slave market were to be sent to Iceland to work for the Fjalnir family, who were now sheep farmers. After hearing this, Amleth cut his hair and disguised himself as a slave to infiltrate a ship going to Iceland. That evening, a female slave named Olga, who could recite spells, discovered Amleth's disguise and realized he had a secret plan. When the group of slaves arrived in Iceland, they had to walk for hours in chains over steep hills. On the way, Olga asked Amleth why he had come. Amleth told her he was looking for the traitor who killed his father. Meanwhile, Fjalnir and his second son, Gunnar, were working on the farm, waiting for the new slaves to arrive. When the slaves arrived, Fjalnir chose some to work on his farm. Amleth tried to get Fjalnir's attention, so he would be chosen. At first, Fjalnir's eldest son, Thorir, wanted to reject Amleth, but Fjalnir was impressed by Amleth's strength and asked his name. Amleth used the fake name Bionofr to avoid suspicion, so his plan for revenge would not be discovered. Fjalnir also chose Olga and other slaves to work on his farm. In the evening, Amleth secretly sneaked into Fjalnir's house to kill him, but he changed his mind when he saw a black fox, just like CRS had mentioned. The black fox was a clue to finding a special sword that could kill Fjalnir. The next day, Amleth and other slaves worked on the farm, cutting wood, building fences, and mowing grass. During this time, Amleth tried to find his mother, Queen Gudrun, in Fjalnir's room. When he checked the room, Gudrun was cutting Fjalnir's hair. She did not recognize him and told a servant to close the door. While Amleth was resting, Olga came to him and asked if he had found the traitor he was looking for. She also asked Amleth to protect her while they were there. Before he could answer, Fjalnir's soldiers pulled Olga away and told her to get back to work. That evening, Amleth sneaked away from the farm and followed the black fox to find the ancient sword CRS had foretold. The fox led Amleth to a hidden cave in the mountains, where an old man waited by a fireplace. The old man knew who Amleth was and about King Orvindil's death. Amleth quickly asked where to find the ancient sword. The old man explained that the sword was made by a cruel blacksmith from rare iron and was tied to the bones of a powerful human race. This sword, called Roger, was as strong as a dragon's fang and could only kill someone at night at the black gates of hell. The old man told Amleth he could find the sword on a hill, in a hole under a mound. Amleth went to the location and climbed down into the hole using a rope the old man had given him. Inside, he found a cave with the body of a knight sitting on a throne, guarding the Roger sword. When Amleth tried to take the sword, the knight's corpse came to life and attacked him. They fought fiercely, but Amleth defeated the knight and took the sword. Amleth sneaked back to the farm barracks without being noticed by the soldiers. However, Fjalnir's beloved dog sensed Amleth's presence and barked loudly. Amleth growled at the dog, scaring it into silence. The next morning, Amleth told Olga that he had found the ancient sword he needed. He planned to kill Fjalnir and free his mother and his little brother, Gunnar. In the afternoon, Thorir asked Amleth to join his team for a ball game between the Fjalnir family and their neighbors because they were short of players. As the game began, Amleth played to help the Fjalnir family win. At first, the game was normal, but in the second round, the opponent started to play brutally, attacking Fjalnir's family members with wooden weapons. The situation got worse when Gunnar entered the arena to get the ball that the opponents were about to throw at their goal. Gunnar was almost killed by an opponent, but Amleth quickly protected him and aggressively attacked the enemy. After the game, Amleth was made a foreman to oversee the slaves. Thorir even allowed Amleth to date Olga as a reward for saving Gunnar. The next day, Amleth started his duties as overseer, but continued to help the other slaves with their work. At midnight, Amleth secretly killed some of Fjalnir's soldiers with the ancient sword and placed their bodies on the roof of the house. The next morning, when Thorir saw what had happened, he was furious and shouted angrily in front of the slaves. Fjalnir then asked the witch they knew to find out who had killed the soldiers. After examining the sword wounds on the bodies, the witch said the wounds were not from their world, but from the world of revenge spirits that would come back to attack them. She said she would perform a special ritual to drive the spirits away and asked Fjalnir to prepare a woman as a sacrifice. In the evening, Fjalnir and others tied up a female slave as a human sacrifice for the magic ritual. While the ceremony was happening, they suddenly heard dogs howling from all directions. The dogs were led by Amleth, who was roaring from a hill. Strange things started to happen when Fjalnir's dog attacked him, forcing him to kill the dog. Fjalnir and his soldiers went outside to check the farm. Meanwhile, Amleth went to a temple after saving the female slave from being sacrificed. Fjalnir and Thorir went to the tent where the witch was performing the rituals and found the witch had died in a terrible way. Fjalnir and his family thought these strange events were caused by evil spirits, not knowing that Amleth had killed the witch. The next day, Fjalnir gathered all the slaves and told them to guard their tents after sunset. That evening, everyone watched over each other and Fjalnir's property. Amleth met a soldier who had once chased him, the one whose nose he had cut off. At midnight, the soldier suddenly acted like he was possessed, stabbing himself. The same thing happened to other Fjalnir soldiers, causing chaos on the farm. Amleth used the chaos to sneak into Gudrun's house with Olga's help. Amleth managed to get into Gudrun's room and held a sword to her so she wouldn't scream. He told her he was her son who had escaped years ago and had come back to kill Fjalnir, who had betrayed his father. Amleth also said he would free her and Gunnar. But to his surprise, Gudrun revealed a secret. Fjalnir did not kidnap her. All this time, Gudrun had secretly been in love with Fjolnir. She admitted that she realized her love for Fjolnir after marrying Orvindil. Gudrun also said she never wanted to have children with Orvindil. Amleth was born out of obligation, but Gunnar, the son of Gudrun and Fjolnir, was born out of true love. Amleth was shocked and angry to hear this, feeling betrayed by his mother. Gudrun confessed she had asked Fjolnir to kill King Orvindil so they could be together. Gudrun then told Amleth that if he killed Thorir, Fjolnir, and Gunnar, he could become the next king and have power. Amleth was horrified by his mother's ruthless nature. He pushed her away when she tried to kiss him. Feeling betrayed, Amleth left his mother to kill Thorir, who was still asleep. After killing Thorir, Amleth declared that his mother was a traitor who had worked with Fjolnir to kill his father. He vowed to kill his mother and everyone she loved. The next morning, Fjolnir cried over Thorir's dead body and cursed the evil spirit that had taken his son's heart. Gudrun told Fjolnir that Amleth was behind it all. She provoked Fjolnir to hunt and kill Amleth before he became stronger and attacked them. Fjolnir then decided to execute all the slaves he had bought to prevent any more betrayals. When it was Olga's turn to be killed, Amleth shouted from the top of the hill, asking Fjolnir to free her in exchange for Thorir's heart. Fjolnir and Gudrun ordered their soldiers to capture and kill Amleth, while Olga used the chance to escape. The soldiers caught and defeated Amleth, bringing him before Fjolnir to take Thorir's heart. To avenge his son, Fjolnir tortured Amleth, beating him until he was badly wounded and lost a lot of blood. Satisfied with the torture, Fjolnir hung Amleth with an iron chain and left him in a warehouse, gravely injured. In the evening, Fjolnir and some witches performed a ritual to honor Thorir. That night, Fjolnir declared Gunnar as his only heir. After the ritual, Fjolnir went to the barn to check on Amleth, but found only black crows where Amleth had been hanged. A female soldier had rescued Amleth and taken him to a safe place near Valhalla. The next morning, Amleth woke up and saw that Olga had saved him. Once he recovered, they decided to leave Iceland and sail to an island called Orkney to start their own kingdom. During the voyage, Amleth kissed Olga's neck wound and had a vision of their future, where their son and Olga would wear crowns. Amleth realized that Olga was pregnant with his child, and she explained that she had hidden the pregnancy to protect their baby from Fjolnir. Worried that Fjolnir might come after them if he found out, Amleth decided to return to Iceland to kill Fjolnir. He paid the ship's captain to take Olga safely to Orkney while he went back to Iceland. When Amleth arrived at Fjolnir's place, he killed all of Fjolnir's soldiers and then searched for Fjolnir. In Fjolnir's room, Gudrun and Gunnar attacked Amleth. He was forced to kill them both. Fjolnir found Gudrun and Gunnar's bodies and challenged Amleth to meet him at the Black Gates of Hell. Before going, Amleth freed the remaining slaves and burned the village. In the afternoon, Amleth arrived at the Black Gates of Hell and saw his mother's body. As it got darker, Fjolnir arrived, and their final battle began. It was a fierce fight, but Amleth managed to kill Fjolnir as foretold. However, Amleth also died in the battle. Just before he died, he had a vision of Olga giving birth to twins who would be his heirs. So the moral of the story is always double-check if your mom secretly loves your uncle before starting a family feud.